one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it because you can.
This story is brought to us by CNN. A Tennessee grandmother spent more than 5 months in jail after police used an AI facial recognition tool to link her to crimes committed in North Dakota, a state she says she's never been to before. Police in Fargo, North Dakota have acknowledged a few errors in the case, really, and pledged changes in their operations, but stopped short of issuing a direct apology. He won't do that. Angela Lips, who's 50, was first arrested in Tennessee on July 14th, according to a statement from the Fargo Police Department and a verified GoFundMe for Lips. This was last year. Unbeknownst to Lips, a warrant had been issued for her arrest weeks earlier in Fargo, over 1,000 miles away from her Tennessee home. Now, months before, several instances of bank fraud had occurred in and around Fargo, North Dakota, according to the police. In their search for a suspect in the bank fraud case, investigators they say we used our partner agency's facial recognition technology as well as additional investigative steps, independent of AI, to assist in identification before submitting the report to the Cass County State Attorney's Office, said Fargo Police Department Chief Dave Zibolski. Now, Zibolski said at a last Tuesday news conference that his police department's reliance on some of the information from a neighboring agency's AI system is part of the issue, referring to errors made in Lip's case. That's your fault for the errors. He said at some point our partner agency over at West Fargo purchased their own AI facial recognition system that we were not aware of at the executive level, and we would not have allowed that to be used, and it has since been prohibited, he said. Well, you did use it. The West Fargo Police Department told CNN that they use Clearview AI, a startup with a database of billions of photos scraped from the internet, including social media. Clearview identified a potential suspect with similar features to Angela Lips, and West Fargo Police shared that report with Fargo Police, reads a statement from the police department. The statement notes that West Fargo Police didn't forward any charges and didn't have enough evidence to charge anyone for the fraud case in West Fargo, but she still went to jail. CNN has reached out to Clearview AI for comment. It's unclear what other evidence was used in the investigation to tie Lips to the crimes. Lips' case comes as police departments across the country have rapidly integrated new technologies, including AI. Good old AI. But police use of the novel technology has attracted criticism, and it's been linked to other cases of misidentification. On July 1st of last year, a North Dakota judge signed a warrant for Lips' arrest with nationwide extradition. She was arrested on July 14th. She spent over 3 months in a Tennessee jail before being extradited, according to Fargo police and her lawyers. It wasn't until October of this last year that Tennessee law enforcement told the Cass County Sheriff's Office in North Dakota they had Lips' extradition waiver. She was facing multiple charges, including felony theft and felony unauthorized use of personal identifying information, according to her lawyers. It's unclear why it took so long for Tennessee authorities to notify their North Dakota counterparts about Lips' arrest. Lips' attorneys told CNN they have seen a July 14, 2025 email notifying various North Dakota law enforcement personnel that Angela had been arrested in Tennessee. Fargo police alternately told CNN, we have been unable to determine, based on available information, if the length of time Miss Lips was in jail in Tennessee before being transported to North Dakota was due to serving time for a probation violation, or if it was because she fought extradition. Probably fought extradition. She's not the one. CNN has reached out to Tennessee authorities for comment. Good luck. Lip's extradition in North Dakota, she said in her GoFundMe, was terrifying. She said it was the first time I'd ever been on an airplane. I was terrified and exhausted and humiliated. In Fargo, she was given a lawyer who found bank records showing she had been in Tennessee during the time of the crimes, according to the GoFundMe. Fargo police say on December 12th of this last year, the state's attorney's office informed the Fargo detective that the defense had produced potential exculpatory evidence. On not Christmas Eve, on December 23rd, the Fargo detective, the state's attorney, and the judge mutually agreed to dismiss the charges without prejudice to allow for further investigation, according to Fargo police. Lips was released from jail on Christmas Eve. For Lips, her months of incarceration were devastating. The trauma, loss of liberty, and reputational damage cannot be easily fixed, said Lips' lawyers to CNN in an email. Her lawyer said Lips was unavailable to speak for an interview. I wouldn't. I'd be like, nope, I'm not saying nothing to any of you. Lips, a mother of 3 and grandmother of 5, had never been to North Dakota before her extradition, according to CNN affiliate WDAY. And after her ordeal, she never plans to return to the state. She said, I'm just glad it's over. I'll never go back to North Dakota. Her legal team says they're investigating why Lips was held in custody for so long when it appears that exculpatory bank records were readily available. They said, we believe that Angela's lengthy detention was unnecessary and should have been avoided with a proper investigation by law enforcement. Well, they don't like to do their jobs. That's just the problem right there and then. Her lawyers are exploring civil rights claims, but have yet to file a lawsuit, they said. Zabolski, Fargo's police chief, said authorities had identified a couple of errors in the investigative process that led to Lips being identified as a potential suspect in the fraud cases. Now, at a last Tuesday news conference, police said that Fargo Police Department doesn't have any AI-powered facial recognition tools of its own, but neighboring West Fargo does, and their system identified Lips as a potential suspect based on the image on a fake ID used in a West Fargo fraud case. I'm going to get back to that in just a second. Hold on. They forwarded that information to our detectives, who then assumed wrongly that they had also sent in the surveillance photos with that photo ID. That's according to Zabolski. The chief said Fargo police will no longer be sending or utilizing information from West Fargo's AI system because it's their own system. We don't know how it's run or how it's overseen. Instead, Fargo police will work with state and federal authorities, including the North Dakota State and Local Intelligence Center. Additionally, all facial recognition identifications will be submitted to the Investigations Division commander on a monthly basis so that we can keep a closer eye on this evolving technology. Fargo police also erred, according to Zabolski, by not submitting surveillance photos associated with the fraud cases to the North Dakota State and Local Intelligence Center, which he said is certified and trained in facial recognition. Police immediately began measures to address that, and the center has since provided the center, that's confusing, with other potential suspects based on the surveillance footage, Zabolski said. He also addressed the months between Lips' extradition and her first interviews with Fargo authorities. He said, in talking with Cass County and the state's attorney's office, there's not an easy mechanism for them to notify us if someone arrested on our felony warrant is in custody. He said the department is considering improvements, including a daily review of the booking roster. Probably a good idea. Asked if the department plans to apologize to Lips, the chief said, at this juncture, we still don't know who's involved and who's not involved in the fraud cases. Oh, so in other words, nope, not us. We don't have to apologize. That's not us. No. Pass the buck. We're going to have to whittle through all of this kind of vast network of people and who's involved, said Zabolski. Just apologize, dick. Zabolski added police are still considering any disciplinary measures for officers involved in the investigation. So what I can tell you from what I know right now is that the persons involved are also very upset by this. Yeah. Because they pride themselves on their thought thoroughness. No one wants to see someone detained, arrested unnecessarily. Yeah, right. So I'm going to stop it right there. It goes way down. There's a lot more to this. It also talks about another case where they used AI to discover a firearm in a kid's backpack only to open it and pull out a bag of Doritos. Well, I guess if they're ghost pepper Doritos, they could be a weapon. You know what I mean? This AI, though, and what I said I was going to get back to, I've seen on Facebook, people are blasting Facebook with AI, particularly celebrity AI videos. All these videos about, these are the, this is the cast from this movie. And they bring out these AI. And some of the AIs, when they come out, doesn't even look like the celebrity. It looks like somebody else. And so my point is, there's no doubt that maybe this AI picture was developed, looked like this woman lips. There's no doubt in my mind that probably happened. But it's not because it was her. It's because AI twists and contorts people's features. It does. And, like I said, I've seen these celebrity AI videos, and sometimes I've been like, that don't even look like Bob De Niro, or that don't even look like Al Pacino. Who does that look like? It looks like more like, who's that comedian, Maniscalco or whatever? It looks more like him. It looks more like, that looks more like Bob De Niro than Al Pacino, but they say that's Al Pacino. But you get the gist, right? This AI is not perfect, never will be perfect. It takes what you input and it looks for something, like let's say you input a picture of Al Pacino. It'll take that and try to recreate that image. It's recreating that image. You know what I mean? It's not using Al Pacino's face. It's using a recreation image of, you get what I'm saying. It never will be letter perfect, I don't think. But these cops, man, who are you going to apologize? It wasn't us. Nope. Pass the buck, pass the buck, pass the buck. Mm-mm. Don't be a dick, Chief. Just go, you know what? I apologize on behalf of all law enforcement across the country that this woman, da-da-da. I'm going to stand that maybe it wasn't our police department that was involved. It was this West Fargo, those detectives over there across town. But, coming from a law enforcement officer, I apologize on behalf of all law enforcement that this happened. Something to that effect. Because you can apologize without taking blame. You know that, right? But they won't. Because that's how cops are. If you ask for help, cops go, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Why? Because I don't want to. But they don't waste any time asking you for a favor. If anybody has any information, please call us. Why? Why should we help you? You guys let me know why we should help them.